Welcome everybody, this is StartupGrind Mauritius and I'm happy to be your new chapter director, and for this first event we are going to talk about cryptocurrency. This is a hot topic, everybody's talking about it. It's going to be 30 minutes and 15 minutes Q&A, everything will be broadcast. We have the opportunity to welcome Suyash Sumaroo, which is one of the experts in Mauritius. So let's start now and let's listen to him. So StartupGrind is hosting this event today. StartupGrind is the biggest startup community in the world with more than 400,000 startuppers, and we are present in 85 countries. So we are here to educate, share and connect. We are selling nothing, but we are here to talk about hot topic in the IT industry, in the web and in all the marketing digital. We thank you, the sponsor, which are Google, which is international sponsor, and locally we have Talenteum and the Mauritius Startup Incubator. So why do I decide to do a cryptocurrency conference? It's because we are talking about this subject in all the newspaper and all the IT in the world. And to know more about this subject, I said it would be good to do a conference about it. So I decided to organize it, and I did it 10 days ago. So it was pretty quick, but I had some pressure to do one event before the end of the month. So that's why we are the 29, and it was almost the last day to organize this event. So as a lot of people couldn't came, that's why we are broadcasting it, and it will be broadcast all over the world, and mainly also in Mauritius. It's going to be retaken by some partner in the media industry. So cryptocurrency, as I'm not an expert, I wanted to look for someone which is more expert than me, and I looked for someone in Mauritius, and I found Suyash Sumaroo, which in fact I met already 2 years ago. And when I called him and said, "Hi, Nicolas, how are you?" I said, "Oh, we know each other?" He said, "Yes, we already met." So this is what we call networking, because when we do a lot of networking, in fact, Mauritius is small. And in fact, I knew Suyash. And so Suyash is a software engineer, and now he's a founder of Quatre, and he's working in the blockchain industry since 2 years, and mainly in the cryptocurrency market. So Suyash, can you introduce yourself, perhaps?
Firstly, I would like to thank Nicolas and StartupGrind for organizing this event. I think that this is going to be one of many such events in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. I believe that's the way to go. So yes, I'm Suyash Sumaroo. I'm the founder of Quatre, a Mauritian startup specialized in the development of mobile, web, and blockchain applications. So just to give you an idea, I studied at the University of Mauritius, did my undergraduate, then went to University of Greenwich to complete my studies, and came back to Mauritius and worked for about 8 years as a software developer and project manager. And after this, I decided to open my own company. Thus, we have Goldstein. And the idea was, at that point and still now, to engage in new technologies, to try to see new opportunities. And blockchain is by far the biggest opportunity and the most game-changing technology out there. The reason why I started working and learning about it. So basically, how it all started, it was very interesting. Actually, I was looking for a solution for an online service that I launched. It was a document management system, and I was just trying to find a solution for document authentication. That is, how to make sure that a document is authentic, has not been tampered with. And I stumbled upon Ethereum and their smart contracts technology, and I got so interested. I mean, it was awesome what they were proposing, the different technology. It was really game changing. I finally created the solution, but I continued working on blockchain.
So can we go now directly into this market? So can you tell us, let's say, what is the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrency? Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, actually, it's a very good question, and it's very important to understand the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Okay, to put it simply, blockchain is one of the underlying technologies on which cryptocurrencies work. So it's like, just to put it even more simply, it's like blockchain is the internet. Actually, people are telling that it's going to be the new internet. So it's the internet, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Ripple, things like that, are going just to be or just applications. But this is really an oversimplification of how things work. So blockchains. So blockchains are true blockchains are based on distributed ledger technology. This means that you have data, we have data, and these data, it can be anything about records, about transactions, anything like things that happen on for example, on Bitcoin. These data are replicated in different places. Okay, this is why it's called a distributed ledger system. Okay, and what is interesting about this technology is that it allows very different ways of doing things. It allows for a trustless environment. That is, we don't need to trust the other person to do what he's supposed to do. The protocol, the algorithms ensure that this is going to be the way. Okay, yeah, this is about blockchain. I'm just trying to remember about something else. No, okay. And then you have cryptocurrencies. Right? Cryptocurrencies, I think most of you guys already know what it is. An obvious example is Bitcoin. So a simple definition would be it's like a medium of exchange or a store of value, like Bitcoin, which is currently a store of value, and less of a medium of exchange currently because maybe of high transaction fees, things like that. But in the next month, in the next years, this will be more and more like an exchange, a medium of exchange.
Okay, thank you. Now I was thinking about perhaps cryptocurrencies. We were talking about Web 2.0 10 years ago, and we are talking about money 2.0. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. I mean, blockchain, and especially Bitcoin, I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on Bitcoin because it's the biggest currency out there right now. It's going to change how a lot of industries work, especially the banking sector, the financial industry, and it will affect a lot of other industries. The reason being that it concerns and it affects a core component of how the society works or how the economy works. It's about money and how money flows. And Bitcoin and the whole community around Bitcoin, the whole structure around Bitcoin allows for a different way of doing this. It is really borderless, so no border. You need to send someone money from one country to another. Currently, there are a lot of middlemen to make this happen, but with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, this is not the case. So yes, if it is affecting such a core component of the society, then yes, it's going to have a lot of effects on any other industry.
Okay, thank you. And let's say that how do we create a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency money? Because I see some new cryptocurrency every week. We can hear about a new cryptocurrency or an ICO. Can you talk about how to create a cryptocurrency, and what about the ICO? Because I used to know talking about IPO, doing an IPO, and now we are talking about ICO. So can you perhaps give us some tips about this subject?
Yes, definitely. You're right. There are literally thousands of cryptocurrencies out there. And just to give you a more perspective on ICOs, last year ICOs raised more than 4 billion USD. So it's a high amount, and this is why regulations are starting to kick in. But we'll come to yeah.
When we say it's they raised $4 billion, it means for real money, US dollar, against Bitcoin or cryptocurrency.
Yes, this is the case, but it's not like, okay, we are raising 4 billion. I mean, a company has launched its ICO and it's raising, let's say, $30 million. Okay, it's not going to say, okay, we have the $30 million in terms of, let's say, Bitcoin or Ethereum. They are not going to exchange it directly to USD. I mean, most of these companies, what they do, as and when needed, they will exchange it in terms of dollars and start using it. But yes, I mean, in real terms, in money terms, the amount that was raised was about $4 billion. So that's, if I'm not wrong, that's on par with what has been raised from traditional investors or angel investors. So this just gives an idea of how quickly things are moving, and how important it is going to be. Okay, and you asked a question about how to create a cryptocurrency. Actually, there are many ways to create a cryptocurrency, and it's important before knowing how to create one. It's important to know what is a cryptocurrency. Okay, so in this space we use different terms for cryptocurrency. For example, you have let's say the main coin, it's Bitcoin, okay, and then you have alternative coins. It's mostly everything except Bitcoin. And then thirdly, you have what we call tokens. Okay, this is very important because tokens, this is what allow, let's say, laymen to create their own cryptocurrency, and quite easily. I mean, if you have the necessary technical skills and you know the right tools, you can easily in a few hours create a token or a cryptocurrency and launch it on Ethereum. Okay, and it's really easy because most of the code out there, most of the building blocks are open source. There are great teams working on these technologies, and everything is open source. You can just go and grab the source code and launch it. It's as easy as this. But from my own experience, it's not really that easy. You have a lot of technical considerations that you need to take into. I mean, technical considerations, and very important. If you're going to create a cryptocurrency just for fun, it's really easy. But if you're going to create something which you want to get large-scale adoption, this is a whole another level. Because it's not only about the technical things, how to create a token, okay, or cryptocurrency. It's also about building a community around it, okay, and how to manage forks, how to manage mining, things like that. So there's a lot of things which happen behind the creation of a cryptocurrency.
Okay, and you are saying it's easy, but it's a bit scary because, for example, this weekend I heard that there is a Japanese cryptocurrency which has been hacked and $300 million has been stolen. So how it's possible to securize this market, because we are exchanging real money with a virtual money. So who are the strongest cryptocurrency to invest, or what is the barrier against hacker?
Yes, that's a very good question because, as you said, there has recently been a hack. If I'm not wrong, it's a company called Quatre. It's a Japanese company. It's an exchange company, and they have stolen about $500 million worth of cryptocurrencies. So that's a lot of money. But luckily, they are saying that, okay, do not worry. Their users, they should not worry. They are going to repay every one of them. Hopefully, they will pay every one of them. But yes, this gives a lot of. I mean, this scares people a bit. Okay, we are going to steal $500 million dollars worth of cryptocurrencies. But I mean, most of these hacks happen because of human errors. Okay, Bitcoin and the blockchain as an algorithm, as a structure, as a system, is very, very stable and very robust in terms of security. Okay, so just to make sure that you do not get hacked or things like that, there are very simple steps that you can take. For example, backing up your, let's say, your private keys, or I mean, these are very, very simple steps that you can take. Yeah.
Okay, and now I see that we have 50% of the people, experts, who are saying it's a big scam of the year. It's going to be close very soon and so on. And we have 50% of the experts, which are very well known also in this industry. We are saying this is a new industry. So who to believe? And what about regulation?
Okay. Yes, I heard that a lot, especially I think in Davos, that is happening right now, if I'm not wrong. A friend of mine told me about this, and he put it very, very, very well. He told me, okay, Suyash, you see, we are going against the big guys here. We are going against people who have been controlling money for decades or for centuries. And these guys, the technology is here. It's going to disrupt a lot of things. And these guys are not going down without a fight. And this is what they are doing. They are fighting, which is natural, which is really natural. But of course, because Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to take a lot of their business, it is going to eliminate a lot of middlemen. For example, how banks work currently. It is not just a thing of whether it is good or bad. It's just the natural evolution of how things should progress if it is to become more and more efficient. And it's also about, let's say, income inequality. So there's a lot of things that are interrelated, and this means that it affects a lot of industries, and change will always create opposition. This is true for anything, for Bitcoin or for any other thing.
Okay. Also, from my point of view, for example, the big guys, means the banks, are a bit afraid. And recently, I have some difficulties to pay on Talentum, one of my company, to pay some consultant, which I have in Madagascar, in India. So finally, I opened in Madagascar an account at Mvola, which is a mobile operator and also a mobile bank operator. And now I'm sending money in this mobile operator, and they are paying my consultant in Madagascar. For India, as I'm paying a few $100s, it's less expensive to send a wire from my bank in Mauritius. So I open an account, on Payoneer. It's a nano bank, and we are paying with only few euros the wire. So I see that things are moving with the fintech, the blockchain, and the cryptocurrency. And that's why we have to go to be the first to be in this market if we want to succeed. So what about regulation? Can you tell me more about what are the next steps, or what are the countries which are more involved in this industry?
Yes, regulations. Actually, just to give you a bit of history with Bitcoin, it all started a few years ago, okay, or nearly a decade ago. So Bitcoin took advantage of some, let's say, gray areas in terms of laws, in terms of regulations, and this is what allowed it to prosper. I mean, governments all around the world did not consider Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as real currencies, or like fiat currencies. So this allowed Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to prosper and gain more popularity. But things are beginning to change. As you say, the money, and this has attracted the attention of regulators from many countries, especially the US, and recently, quite recently, China. So the general tendency is that they are going to regulate it more and more. For example, you have tokens. Maybe in the future they're going to convert it to securities, which are really different from what tokens are right now. So regulations are going to kick in. This is for sure. Now, this is one thing about setting up regulations and laws around cryptocurrencies and really trying to enforce it. So the enforcing part, it's there where it becomes more interesting how they are going to do it, because it's really difficult for example, Bitcoin to enforce any regulations that you have in place.
Okay, so we'll go on each country after, but we are in Mauritius, and it's good to know about what can we do in Mauritius and how Mauritius could benefit from this new industry. I have some thoughts, which I think Mauritius could benefit from opening a QIC back office for all these cryptocurrencies companies, but also we'll announce this later, but also to train people in blockchain, in all the code, how to be in this industry, a bit what you are doing, Suyash. What about you? What do you think how Mauritius could take a lead in the region in this cryptocurrency market?
Okay. Honestly, it's going to be difficult for Mauritius to take the lead in the cryptocurrency space simply because we are very late. We are very late in the game. However, this doesn't stop Mauritius from becoming like an integral player in this field. I mean, things are developing very fast, and there are so many different directions. For example, it all started with Bitcoin, and now you have Ethereum, you have tokens, you have ICOs, and things are moving. For example, Bitcoin, now we have the Lightning Network. So, I mean, new things are being developed every month. It's really difficult to keep up. I can't keep up with everything that is happening in the cryptocurrency space, and this gives Mauritius an opportunity to work in this space, and it's going to take I would say some effort from different sectors, the public sector and the private sector, to make things move. For example, I'm really aiming for the government to put some set up some regulations, not to stifle any kind of innovation, but just to ensure that bad things are not being done via cryptocurrencies. Okay, but regulations in Mauritius, for example, should be really open and flexible to allow for new innovative ideas to be developed. Okay, the beauty of this technology is that, okay, you have developers working in the US or in Europe, okay, but this doesn't stop at all what we can do here. In fact, this gives us more opportunity. Someone in Mauritius can come up with a groundbreaking idea based on blockchains, and it can really gain popularity and really set up a community around this. It's really borderless, and that's the big thing about this technology.
Okay, and as you are a software engineer, how long does it take a software engineer to ask him to develop a blockchain application?
It really depends. It really depends. It depends on I would say his previous knowledge, his previous let's say experience in different technologies. For example, I worked a lot with JavaScript and PHP. I mean, open source technologies, and these technologies are going to, let's say, make it much easy. I mean, not much easier. It's going to be less difficult. I would say less difficult to start working on blockchains and cryptocurrencies, because it's really not that straightforward. I mean, you have lots and lots of resources, and the sheer number of technologies and things out there in this space makes it very difficult, okay, to know what direction to take. Okay, firstly, it's about understanding what is blockchain and really understanding what are the implications of blockchain. It's not only a technology, but it's a technology that is going to change a lot of things. You need to have this different idea about, okay, we used to work in a system where everything was centralized, like Facebook, Google. They have one or multiple servers where everything is centralized. With blockchain and cryptocurrencies, we have this distributed and decentralized system, and understanding this is the first step. And then, of course, you have to start learning about the different libraries that are present out there, the different tools that are available. And the advantage is that most of them are open source, so you can just take them, tear them apart, see how they work, and show for yourself, okay, this is not a scam, this is the real thing, and based on this, continue development. So you have a lot of resources. It will take some time. I can say that it will take around between 3 to 6 months just to get the hang of it and develop a first prototype if someone hasn't worked on blockchain and cryptocurrencies in the past. But as from this point, it becomes much, much easier.
Okay, so I think we talked last week when we did the last things for this event, and I think we should create a blockchain academy in Mauritius to train some junior people in the software industry to know more about blockchain. So I think we'll see what we can do as a public and a private sector. But a blockchain academy will be soon launched with the help of experts like you. So I think this is one of the first steps we are going to do in Mauritius. Now, before the last question, I see that we are talking about environment, and people are talking about its energy consuming. So can you tell me more about this? Because for us it's a bit virtual, and we don't understand why it's against the environment.
Okay. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I had a different idea about Bitcoin and the energy impacts of Bitcoin and mining. But after discussing with a friend, he showed me that my idea was really wrong about it. So just to give you an idea, how Bitcoin, I will take the case of Bitcoin because it's the biggest cryptocurrency, and I think by far it's the biggest, let's say, consumer of energy. Okay, so how does Bitcoin work? It's like, okay, you have the structure, you have the network of nodes, and you have miners. Okay, these miners need to do a lot of mathematical calculations to ensure that records in the blockchain, in the Bitcoin blockchain, are valid and have not been tampered with. I mean, these are really heavy calculations that require a lot of processing power. Okay, the fact that they require processing power means that there is a lot of energy which is being used, and that's why you will see that a lot of the miners are found in are located in countries where they have, let's say, the price of electricity is very low. Okay, this means that yes, a Bitcoin does consume a lot of energy. Okay. And at first sight, and anyway, a lot of media outlets have been saying that, okay, yes, Bitcoin is wasting a lot of energy, things like that. But at first sight, it does seem to be this way. But if you try to see it, if you try to relate it to the current state of things, then you can see the difference. For example, Bitcoin is trying to, let's say, replace the banking sector. Okay, let's say for oversimplification that Bitcoin is trying to do that. Let's see how the banking sector works. So, for example, if you want a credit card, okay, they give you this little plastic credit card that you got, that you have, and after 2 or 3 years, they expire, and you need to throw them away. And we have millions and millions of these plastic credit cards which are created. This is already a very important environmental impact. And think about when you're doing a transaction on your credit card, you have these big systems on big servers running programs which try to see if, okay, trying to see if there's a fraud or something like that, like fraud detection systems. So these things also require a lot of energy. And just to take a more stark example, remember about when euros was launched. Okay, the euro was launched, and think about how much paper was used, how many were printed, and think about the distribution costs, which was just, I mean, the euros were distributed in all banks around Europe. So when you compare the energy requirements of Bitcoin, for example, and the energy requirements of the banking or the financial sector, I mean, for me, it's clear that the energy requirements of the banking and financial sector clearly dwarfs anything that Bitcoin is producing. So yes, it does consume a lot of energy, but it's really much less than what is actually being done.
Okay, thank you. And now to finish, let's say what will be the future? How do you see the market in the next 5 years? Because 5 years is a lot, but it's also, we can do a lot of things, and a lot of people can become number one in the market. So how do you see the future about regulation and cryptocurrencies and blockchain?
I could summarize this in a single phrase. It's like, okay, in 5 years, 5 to 10 years, everyone, or mostly everyone, will have two wallets. They will have their current bank account, as you already have, and they will have a wallet for cryptocurrencies. Okay. Actually, this is a friend of mine who said it some months back, and this stuck in my head, and this is true. At the pace that things are moving, the adoption of cryptocurrencies as a medium of payment, it's going to accelerate. Okay, more and more businesses are going to accept this as a mode of payment, and there are going to be more and more transactions on it. So this is going to really increase the rate of adoption of cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology in general. In terms of regulations, this means that there will be a lot more regulations. There's no way around that. Governments are going to try to regulate cryptocurrencies. And the important thing is that they are not averse to this technology. On one hand, they are okay putting restrictions. They are kind of even banning cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin. But on the other hand, they are saying, okay, we are banning Bitcoin, but we are creating our own cryptocurrency for each country. So you have a lot of these things. This means that they are not averse to this technology. They are just averse to the threat that Bitcoin is creating to the ability to control things. And yes, regulations are going to kick in, but I believe that this will not stop the adoption of cryptocurrencies in general.
Okay, thank you, Suyash. I think we have learned during this event a bit more about cryptocurrency. If you want, we are going to have some 10 minutes Q&A, perhaps if you want to share something, or if you want to ask some question to Suyash.
Oh, hello. Thank you very much. I just wanted to know if you are aware of the creation of Mauritius Blockchain Center of Excellence or not?
Not really.
No?
Not
Okay.
really, yeah.
So it's a joint initiative between Business Mauritius and private companies to create here a type of academy to get the public and private sector to help understand what could be the use cases for that technology and work with regulators. And I wanted to share also that here in Mauritius there is a sandbox license for businesses, and that could be a good start for making a business, an innovative business with cryptocurrencies. I have a question also for you. Do you have? You say you work on crypto apps. Do you have customers?
It's more of, let's say, I'm currently working on an ICU. Okay, it's an ICU which is called the Earth Token. Okay, it's about carbon mitigation, the carbon mitigation industry. So it's more about, currently it's more about setting up the ICU and working behind it and making sure everything works well. So basically I'm working with all the technology concerning cryptocurrencies. But as you said, do I have customers really who are using that? Not really, especially here in Mauritius, because I believe that this is just starting. But the idea behind creating, let's say, an application based on cryptocurrency or blockchain, it's going to be like we are trying to see in the next 2 years, 3 years, and we are trying to disrupt something. And the adoption, I believe the adoption will come, but maybe not for now, because it will take some time for companies to realize what blockchain is and start using it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
About the sandbox license,
Yes.
in fact, the BOI is doing that, but in fact, it's all the topics they don't know. They put that into the sandbox license, and they are perhaps more careful about what they have to do, because this is some new market for them, and that's why I think they are putting the blockchain industry into this basket. Do we have other question, perhaps? Perhaps do we have Mr. Marmin? You said that you bought a lot of some crypto currency. So are you have you earned or are you losing now? 50.
But I think you have many trading, many traders now, and it's why it's very popular, Bitcoin, and it's very complicated to understand the market. Do you have some tips or advice?
Yeah, because I also want to invest, but I don't know. So since I don't know, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I mean, the price of cryptocurrencies are currently very volatile, and I'm really a very bad person to give you, let's say, predictions about where to invest or where not to invest. Because I'm more interested with the technology. Just to give you an idea, I never bought any Bitcoin or Ethereum. I mean, I bought some just to do some development work. I'm more interested in the development part. So yes, on one hand you have traders going to, let's say, buy and sell and make profits on it, and on the other hand you have people working on the technology itself, and I'm more about the technology. However, I would say that a general rule of thumb for me is that do not sell Bitcoin. As simple as this. Bitcoin has been increasing in value year on year. I mean, yes, at one stage last year it was around $22,000 per Bitcoin, and it has reduced, come down to about 14,000 right now. But if you compare it with your last year, it was, if I'm not wrong, $1,000 or $2,000. So it's still on a lot more increase. So for me, it's as simple as this: if you have Bitcoin, do not sell it. Keep it. It will appreciate in value. There are so many developments that are going to take place in 2018, and which is going to increase the value of Bitcoin. And what is interesting is that when the value of Bitcoin increases, most of the other cryptocurrencies follow this trend. Okay, because it kind of gives people confidence over the whole cryptocurrency and blockchain thing.
Okay, thank you. Other question from the...
Hi Suyash, thank you for this nice presentation. I've one question, and at the same time it's a sort of reflection. Bitcoin is having the same destiny as cloud computing some years back. I've been exposed in the cloud industry for a couple of years. When cloud computing was here, many IT professionals had to reinvent themselves. It was like a fear, loss of job, so on and so on. Same is happening today with banks. We used to have a battle card to sell cloud, and the battle card was energy. I'll give you a simple example. For example, while selling cloud, we were using a battle card and saying removing your on-premise servers would make you save 30% electricity monthly. Speaking about energy, is this being monitored in the cryptocurrency sector today for us to be able to promote that currency? We use it as a battle card. Let's say, okay, if you remove all these things, you're going to save so much, so on and so on, in terms of percentage, in terms of energy. Having said so, we also speaking in a more universal way. We have the land-based oceanographic projects in Mauritius, pumping cold water from the ocean, because we are surrounded, Mauritius is an island surrounded by the sea, to cool the AC, so on and so on, thus reducing cost of electricity. And that would be an opportunity for Mauritius to maybe host data centers or processing. So like you said, there's a lot of processing and mathematical work going on which consumes energy, to start thinking about building a data center, a green data center, thus promoting that energy part, which is like I would say a grain de sable in in the factory, so that we can move on. Thank you.
It's a good idea. What do you think?
Yes, I mean, I heard about this this project of using seawater to cool as a coolant for buildings, things like that. And yes, it's really interesting. Getting back to your question about what could be your main selling point if you're going to use this technology as a company. I mean, using energy is, I don't think it's the right strategy. The right strategy would be that, okay, this technology, blockchain and cryptocurrencies, will allow you to reduce your costs. Okay, for example, just a basic example, if you're going to buy something online, there's always a transaction fee, 2%, 3%, and this is going to be eliminated with cryptocurrencies. Okay, there will still be a transaction fee, but much smaller. Currently, for example, you have Bitcoin, and the transaction fee is quite high, but this will change. This will change, and also it's about disruption. Okay, blockchain will allow the eliminating of a lot of inefficiencies. What I termed earlier as all the middlemen. Okay, you need to do something, you need to buy a house. Okay, there are always middlemen involved in the process. The middlemen, each one will have their own, let's say, commission. So at the end of the day, you're not just buying the house, but you're buying the house with all these commissions. And blockchain has the ability and the technical, let's say, technical ability to change that. And this is going maybe to be a bad thing because people are going to lose their jobs. For me, it's as simple as this. If you take the case of an insurance company, it's not only about the banking sector, it's also about the insurance companies, it's also about the distribution industry. So it's more about how you can make a process which involves 10 steps to only 2 or 3 steps. And this is possible by blockchain. And the thing in that is that this is all decentralized. Okay, you do not need to trust, if I set up a solution, you do not need to trust Suyash and his company to do that. Okay, this is ensured by the whole system, by the whole algorithm. And this is what is really game changing.
Okay, interesting. Another question? Yeah, Imtaz?
Talking about planning to creating takes really a lot of energy. That's the easy thing. But something that strictly it's about transaction fees was about 10% transfer from my wallet to another one. Why is it so high, and why is that?
The transaction fee is used for miners and validators. I mean, these are the guys which ensure that the network, the Bitcoin blockchain is running correctly. There are the guys that are doing the calculation, the heavy calculations, and they need to be, let's say, need to be paid, like as an incentive, so that they're going to allocate their resources to doing this. So this is kind of, okay, we are providing something and we need to be paid. So this is what the transaction fee is used for. Okay, and yes, it's currently, I mean, in the last month also it has been very high. I mean, if you're going to send $10 worth of Bitcoin, it's going to cost you $50 to send it. So yes, it's an issue because of certain technical, let's say, limitations which characterize the Bitcoin blockchain. However, things are moving in this space. People have seen that this is a big problem. If this is the case, then there won't be a large-scale adoption of Bitcoin. As simple as this. So people, developers, teams are developing solutions which will decrease this transaction space. Actually, there are solutions which I believe will be launched in 2018, which will make sure that transaction fees are really very, very low. This is one thing. And in terms of capacity, it can handle millions and millions of transactions on par, and even higher than what currently credit cards are doing. So this is a very interesting technology that is going to be launched I believe in 2018, and this is what is going to, let's say, push full large-scale adoption of Bitcoin. I really believe that is going to happen.
Bitcoins have, understand there's a limit, 21 million Bitcoins, right? And in terms of decimal, I think 8 pesos decimal, something like that. So there's an amount of Bitcoin that we cannot go beyond. Isn't that a problem?
Not really, because if you take the 21 million and you multiply it by, I say 10 million or something like that, so that's a lot. And let's say that currently it's like $1 is about 100 or 1,000 of what we say Satoshi. So I mean, in real economic terms, it won't be a problem, because Bitcoin has a lot of leeway in terms of the quantity which can be used, and so on. So yes, it can be divided between 10 million more in terms of Satoshis. So it won't cause, I don't believe that it will cause a problem in the long term. Even if it does cause a problem, I believe that there will be solutions. For example, as I said, the solution about the transaction fees, things like that. But one thing which is important is that many people believe that one of the most important aspects of Bitcoin is the fact that it's limited. It's 21 million. That's it. You can't get more than that, and this is intentional. This is intentional because what they are trying to do is that, okay, when we try to see the traditional system, you take the US dollar for example. So the Federal Reserve can print as many notes as they want, and there's no limit on that. There's no control on that, and they can use this to manipulate the value of the US dollar or many other things. And this is what causes the US dollar to be really very inefficient, and which causes a lot of problems, inflation, things like that. And this to counter this thing, this is why one of the reasons Bitcoin was created, and the 21 million Bitcoins is really a hard limit. And most people agree that if this limit is removed or changed, then this is no longer Bitcoin. So I believe that the limit will stay here, but there will be other solutions to compensate any kind of problems that may arise.
Do we have the statistics on the lost Bitcoins? The principal knocking no money? Do we know how many Bitcoins are lost?
I do think they have the statistics. I don't have them with me right now. 5 to 6 million Bitcoins.
You can't be sure.
Yeah.
About 5 to 6 million are lost.
Okay.
5 to 6 million Bitcoins.
It's huge. It's more deflation.
Yeah.
Just remember, it goes down to what, 8 or 10 decimal points.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really.
It's 21 million
I don't know
times.
what
Yeah.
that number is of units.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Suyash. I think if you have more question, you can talk to him at the cafeteria. Thank you to be here, and if you want to stay in touch for the next event, it will be in 1 or 2 months. It will be about talents, how to attract talents in Mauritius and in Africa, and it will be somewhere else, but perhaps it will be organized. We are going to have more people coming, and thank you to be here, and thank you, Suyash.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.